एक बार फिर आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। मैं हूं पीयूष श्रीवास्तव और आप देख रहे हैं इंडिया मार्ट इमर्जिंग बिजनेस फोरम सीजन 2। और अब एक बार फिर से इस चर्चा को शुरू करते हैं। जानने की आज हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कोलकाता में कि क्या क्या है ऑल्टरनेट सोर्सेज ऑफ फंडिंग। मिस्टर माहेश्वरी, आपने बहुत सारे यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को मेंटर किया हुआ है। सबसे बेसिक प्रॉब्लम क्या फेस करते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जब बात फंडिंग की आती है, और वहां पर उनको क्या प्रिकॉशंस लेनी चाहिए?
दे हैव टू बिल्ड द कॉन्फिडेंस दे कैन डू इट। खुद में एक ताकत होनी चाहिए, हम कर सकते हैं, सबसे बड़ी चीज है। यदि वो ताकत नहीं है तो आगे कुछ ही नहीं बढ़ पाए, काफी निराशा मिलेगी। ही हैज टू स्टैंड ऑन हिज लेग्स विद ऑल द कॉन्फिडेंस। ही हैज गॉट एबिलिटी, ही हैज गॉट ए करेज, ही हैज गॉट एंटरप्राइज, ही हैज टू मूव दैट।
ओके हरी, एक अहम सवाल जो मैं बीच में पूछना चाहता था लेकिन उससे स्किप हो गया। विक्रम ने और बोधिसत्व दोनों ने बात की थी स्पैम इन्वेस्टर की। एक यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर किसी नए आइडिया के साथ आता। अभी मैं बैंगलोर में था, वहां पे हमारा आईपीआर के ऊपर शो था। वहां पे 2-3 हमें ऐसे यूनिक आइडियाज मिले जिसको कि अब वो पेटेंट भी करवा रहे हैं। मेरे दिमाग में ये बात उस वक्त जब आपको डिस्कशन चल रहा था, मेरे दिमाग में जरूर आई कि अगर ऐसा यूनिक आइडिया को लेके कोई किसी फंड के लिए फंडिंग के लिए जाता है और वहां पे कोई स्पैम इन्वेस्टर अगर है तो उसके न सिर्फ आइडिया को वहां पे चोरी कर लेगा बल्कि उसको और भी लॉस होगा। तो ऐसे में प्रिकॉशन क्या रखनी चाहिए, कैसे फिल्टर करना चाहिए इन्वेस्टर्स को?
देखिए, आइडिया से कुछ नहीं होता है। द आइडिया हैज टू बी बैक्ड अप विद वेरी स्ट्रांग एग्जीक्यूशन। Spam investors definitely are there. There are many people who are only hunting for bright ideas and they sell these bright ideas to others. So you must be very, very cautious about such people. So you must be able to do a minimum due diligence on the type of investors that you are talking to. You must go through referrals, or you must go through some good brand names. So it is very important for the entrepreneur also to do his homework in terms of to whom he is talking. For example, if you go to an intermediary who does debt, and उसके पास अगर आप इक्विटी का बात करोगे, it will take a long time for him to understand, how to place you. But if you go to a person who does only equity, he will understand that you are looking for equity. But if you ask him for debt, he will again have a difficulty. So spam investors are there. Spam is there in every single activity of our life and business. But what is important is for smart entrepreneurs to do a minimum due diligence. And today there are so many organizations who can recommend you that these are the type of people you should go to. There are many organizations which are willing to help entrepreneurs, help startup companies. So you must build your own ecosystem of support as a startup. That who are the people to whom you can go who are committed to developing entrepreneurship in the country. So those are the things that you need to identify, because you can go to them and their job is just to help you. So please use all those resources. So many organizations are there. It is very easy to find them out, and then from there you could get referrals, and with those referrals you will not get into spam investors. So you must choose your time.
ये सबसे ज्यादा अहम है पता करना कि आखिर आपको अप्रोच किसे करना है। लक्ष्मण, आपके पास मैं आना चाहूंगा एसएमई स्टॉक एक्सचेंज के बारे में जानने के लिए, क्योंकि एक सबसे अहम ऑल्टरनेट सोर्स ऑफ फंडिंग क्रिएट हो रहा है। उसके पहले मैं अरुण का एक कमेंट लेना चाहूंगा। अरुण प्लीज।
Couple of panelists said you need to be up to mark while going to investors. Yes, that's very true. You need to be through with your homework. And when we're talking about homeworks, let me talk about particular things that you need to take care while, apart from many other things like your financial numbers, your not only financial numbers, your numbers like cost per customer, cost per employee, profit per customer, profit per employee and customer, and so on and so forth. So you need to be prepared with all these numbers. You need to market yourself properly. This is number one. Second thing is 70% of the SMEs who go sick because of lack of funds. So cash is like oxygen for your business. So you need to really respect that. Another thing that I like to take out of IndiaMART experience is sometimes you can look for funding from your own employees, which is again alternate source of funding. So depends what kind of company size you have. During the time of 2001 .com bust, we had gone back to our employees. We took funds from there, and we are really thankful for that kind of support from our employees. So that's another idea that you can explore with your employees, apart from a lot of other funding things.
Last comment हम लक्ष्मण से लेना चाहेंगे. What exactly this SME Stock Exchange? ये फंक्शन कैसे करेगा और कौन लोग इस पर अपनी कंपनी को लिस्ट करा सकते हैं? Please.
All of us know that certain debt equity ratios are very important for any industry or any sector. And debt and equity play more of a complementing role in markets actually. Banks have been providing debt for very long. And on equity, we were not many opportunities. Particularly, we see SMEs are generally over-leveraging the debt and, the equity options are very limited. With over-leveraging of debt actually generally what happens is they reach a saturation point and, their next orbit they want to take off, they find it very difficult. This is where the equity funding can play a very important role. Second thing actually, there is a huge gap between the SMEs and corporates actually. The companies, big companies come and list on the main exchange, on the Bombay Stock Exchange or NSE. They are generally quite big and there is a huge gap between SMEs and these big companies. In fact, this SME exchange, dedicated SME exchange for SMEs has been conceived to bridge this gap, bring the SMEs at early stage. We have liberalized a lot of parameters, streamlined a lot of regulations as compared to the main exchange. Here actually even 3 years profit-making track record we have wiped off, where even entrepreneurs, startups can also come, provided, they can get strategic investors or investors from the market who can invest in the IPOs. And, there is a market-making support is there with the liquidity for 3 years. And, there is a hand-holding by the merchant bankers and everybody. And then they will be facilitating migration to the main exchange after maybe 3 years or could be even future after 5-6 years also. So in fact this has been conceived more as a exchange to nurture the SMEs, provide them equity capital. And for last 1 year we have been making extensive efforts and I am very glad to announce that. And I think maybe with some streamlining of the regulations, this can be a very big game changer for the SMEs in years to come.
क्या size आप expect करते हैं?
Generally, size doesn't matter. I will tell you, there was a scientist actually who has come with the idea, which is where he has a patent, and there is an investor ready to invest. He has given a check of 50 crores for a 49% equity, and he doesn't want to take the investor. He wants to get him through the listing route. We said, okay, we can facilitate that. You can, put a private company, private limited company, convert it to public limited, and through IPO we can facilitate. In fact, nomads and all that are doing. In fact, we are now even trying to align private equity, venture capital also. Wherever they can identify a company and where they want to invest, they can invest in these companies through the even listing route on the SME exchange also, where the exit becomes very easier in the future years for the venture capitalists and private equity. And, with the 3 years profit-making track record, Viver, I think, even somebody has like, BOT, BOO, BOLT type of, where future revenues-based projects are there and some viable projects actually, which are vetted by the agency. Even they can also come and get.
लक्ष्मण, इसी के साथ अब बहुत सारे सवाल हैं यहाँ पे लोगों के, हम फ्लोर ओपन करना चाहेंगे ऑडियंस के लिए। सवाल करने के लिए प्लीज दोनों तरफ माइक आ जाए। उसके पहले मिस्टर माहेश्वरी,
I have a question to Lakshman sir. Why can't we have a specialized contingent fund for market making? You know the size of merchant bankers, not their pocket is not very deep, except 5-7. Now, unless the regulated banks, government banks comes with a contingent fund, or SEBI comes with a contingent fund, or exchange comes with a contingent fund market making, I think market making is going to be very tough.
Thank you, Vijay ji. You have really hit at the right point. Market making is the crux of the success for the SME exchange, because liquidity is very important. See, capital markets is all about valuations, and valuations happen only when there is a thriving liquidity is there. So, already SIDBI Venture Capital, Sri Sarma, is here also. They are making an effort to put up a fund, which will be a fund to support the market making, and they will take the position as nominated investor. In fact, we have been very interactive.
जो कि मुझे भी नहीं पता था। मिस्टर शर्मा, बहुत ही क्विक कमेंट आपसे जानते हैं, क्या है ये फंड, कैसे फंक्शन करेगा?
नहीं, एक्चुअली हम लोग ये नॉमिनेटेड इन्वेस्टर लिक्विडिटी फंड सेटअप करना चाहते थे। अभी तक सेटअप नहीं हुई, सिर्फ सिडबी ने इसके लिए पैसा दिया है, और बाकी वी आर स्ट्रगलिंग विद द सोर्सेज ऑफ फंड्स फ्रॉम द अदर्स, वी हैव अप्रोच्ड अदर्स। इसमें सिडबी ने 20 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट करने को ट्राई किया है। तो ये फंड ऐसा चलता है कि द प्राइस विल बी डिटरमिन्ड कि ये इश्यू में इतना प्राइस में हम इन्वेस्ट करेंगे। अभी जब मार्केट मेकर खरीदता है तो उसका जो उसमें लागत हुआ है उसको हम रीइंबर्स करके शेयर ले लेंगे अपने पास, सब्जेक्ट टू सर्टेन लिमिट्स, यानी इश्यू प्राइस के इतने से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, या फिर मतलब हमने जो तय किया है वैल्यू उससे ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, तो हम उनसे अब्जॉर्ब करेंगे शेयर्स, और जब उनकी लिक्विडिटी ऑफ शेयर्स ड्राई अप हो जाती है तो उनको शेयर्स देंगे एट अ हायर प्राइस. The difference between this and that representing our own spread for having funded the market maker during the interim period. इसका अंत क्या होगा वो मालूम नहीं है, क्योंकि 3 साल के बाद वाला वो डिसाइड नहीं हुआ है कि whether we will do on profit to us and loss to us basis, या फिर मतलब profit and loss शेयर करें, ये दूसरा तरीका है, या फिर profit और loss सिर्फ इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर का हो एट द एंड ऑफ द 3-year पीरियड, ये तय नहीं हुआ है. उनका थोड़ा मार्जिन
इश्यू आ जाता है. लक्ष्मण,
I could actually, Piyush, actually we are trying to address all these issues. One is it's a good effort by the SIDBI, I mean, having to come forward and say that no, we'll take a nominated investor position. But parallelly, we are also talking to a lot of other, banks and various institutions in the market. And in fact, now we are innovating a lot of things. One is, one thing we are market making, we have made a now very good breakthrough, where there was unlimited liability that was there on the part of the market maker actually. He's there only to create the liquidity, but there is unlimited liability. This paradigm, this paradox we have now almost sorted out. We have designed innovative solutions. Now, in particular in starting years for the success of the SME exchange, institutional support is very important. This is an area where we are working very strongly with the, some of the reputed market intermediaries. We are taking suggestions from them, and we are approaching
I think Mr.
various institutions.
I'm trying to make a suggestion. If the government of India, through a notification or through a budget, allows banks to, capitalization, market capitalization on a capital markets, normally they say 5%. If they can create 0.5% or extra on incremental deposits, look, banks can put the money as a market making through SIDBI or other structure that will not be calculated in a capital market exposure. That's one suggestion I like to make, number one. Number two, SBI did make effort last 3 years. They're taking direct equity in unlisted companies. They had done 7-8 transactions. They're now, after they deal with the Macquarie, they discontinued it. But the commercial bank can be examined with SIDBI or without SIDBI, to have a better structure in this regard.
Vijay ji, something innovative that is being discussed actually at government level is 20% priority sector lending. In that lending to SMEs is also included. So far they used to only count the debt lending. Now they are trying to make it, whether it is debt or equity lending, it will be considered priority sector lending.